So I'll be honest, I am in a pure theory crafting mood here today on no matter what game I'm thinking about it, whether I'm thinking about Idle Heroes, World of Warcraft, Magic the Gathering. I'm just in this theory crafting mode today and kind of talking about what we talked about earlier today. What if Transcendence Heroes were banned? What if you could put any number of a Transcendence hero into a lineup? If you guys remember the old days, some of the best teams that I ever created were like 4 Russell and 2 Rogan and just having some crazy round 2 burst damage. What would you guys like seeing if that was possible? Do you think it would be completely busted if you could use any number of Transcendence heroes in a single lineup? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here today. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's jump right into it. So there are a couple things that jump out at me immediately that would probably be some of the most broken things in the world. We already know how crazy strong some heroes are with a single copy and a noble core. Could you imagine having an entire team of 6 Therapist Blood Betty? There's essentially a 0% chance that anything on the other side of the team doesn't get crowd controlled, and we're even talking about like Sherlocks that can reflect stuff. Could you imagine having 6 Therapist Blood Betties just simply on the same team? It just sounds like it would be one of the most broken things possible, because yeah, you can just run like even beyond that. I think some people forget sometimes too, the newer version of Rui just gives you that 50% chance to gain 100 energy at the beginning of battle, and this does work on Therapist Blood Betty. This could just be a crazy insane thing that could happen. Imagine having 6 Dragon Ruis at Splendid on top of 6 Therapist Blood Betty. I can understand why this probably wouldn't go into effect with 6 heroes. Maybe let you use 2 of any one hero, because I think there would be a couple things that would dominate. Number one, PvP and a lot of PvE modes would probably just be dominated by Therapist Blood Betty. And honestly, I think boss battles would be dominated with Lord of Fear Aspen. I think you'd probably use like 3 to 4 Lord of Fear Aspens, even if like 2 of them were to help feed energy to the main 2 damage dealing ones using like antlers, canes and stuff. Because there are a couple things that probably would still be necessary. Number one, it's probably too hard to beat the bonus damage, the all damage dealt when you do get it all the way leveled up, because this goes up to 24%. That's a huge amount. Depending on the game mode, it's still kind of hard to beat out like the bonus damage that the Heart Watcher would provide. But could you imagine, not you having like 3 or 4 of this hero just going absolutely crazy on a boss in a 15-round battle? Like, that would just be absolutely broken, but it would also be absolutely fun as well. And you know what that would also solve? Probably the issue that a lot of people don't really need the older heroes anymore, like the Awakened copies. Like, we have all these heroes here, because once you get them, you just kind of don't need them anymore. Could you imagine now at this point being like, well, now I need to get 2 more S level Aspens? How much the demand and price would shoot up would probably be insane. The other one, I'm not even going to talk about Doomturner Vulcan, because I don't necessarily think he would be amazing. What I think would be absolutely crazy is the amount of round 1 damage you could put out with like a 6 lineup of Star Swordsman Mockman. In reality, you probably want 4, because of course the way he works, you want him in his descending form in the back row to start, so that he does have that really huge active skill, because it does just so much damage right here. Reduces armor, which is actually kind of crazy, because if you had multiple of him, like, they would be completely stripped of armor in the back row, and then you have additional chase attacks. You'd have so much burst damage. It would just be absolutely insane. And we're actually going to be highlighting a Star Swordsman Mockman pretty soon here, as well as an Alakita, because again, another hero that I think would be absolutely busted in multiples is probably the new Infinite Era Alakita, mainly because like, they put so many debuffs on the enemy, and then they do additional damage based on the number of debuffs on the enemy. Could you imagine having like 6 of these in the lineup and having them all use their active skill in round 1? So if you don't know what this says, and we can even go to like the more premium version up here, deals damage to all enemies 2 times, so that's just baseline, and inflicts authority manipulation 1 time. So that gives an attribute buff owned into a corresponding attribute debuff, which basically means on the enemy side of the battlefield, it takes any buffs they have, turns them into debuffs, and then deals damage to them, to all targets who have taken damage again for 600%. Then with every one debuff on that target, extra damage will be dealt by 600. That can get ramped up pretty good, especially since their basic attacks apply 1 to 3 of these debuffs on the enemy too. Now, not all these debuffs count. There's like what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like the energy is the only one that doesn't work. But could you imagine, because even on top of that, if you had fully sublimed out Alakitas, round 1 basics would not be the worst thing in the world, because remember, you deal damage to all enemies, which means every single one of you would have a chance of applying these CC effects. You can even run them with Rui Scepters too. So there's stun, silence, freeze, petrify, and fear on the target for 2 rounds. That would be absolutely cool. And then you go into round 2 when they have a ton of debuffs already on them, even in game modes where like they purify and they get rid of some of those debuffs and stuff, crowd controls. It'll be a lot of damage. Just absolutely insane, because beyond that, increases all allies, all damage dealt to enemies with attribute reduction effects. I imagine this would stack too, and that could just get completely out of control. That's just a few examples I feel like that would be crazy. You know, it'd be an insane defensive team. What if you had 6 Hyperspace Hunter Alamox on your team, and you had block chance through the roof, granting them a shield equal to 600% attack and elegance that of course becomes a heal when that shield wears off? That's just so crazy. Could you imagine how defensive a team like this would be? You would have to use a Drake, and even then you're still dealing with shields that potentially went on before Drake even hit. It would just be a crazy defensive combo. You know what you could also do? A complete dodge meta. Yes. Now, this is the one that says, you know, you can have Shadow Lurk up to 3 layers. I don't know if it would affect, like, if you had multiple Phantom Defier Lenas, do you think they let each one of them stack up to 3 layers? Because then you could easily just be immune to all physical damage hits, because you would just dodge everything. That's another hero that would be absolutely crazy. I mean, heck, even Gaggy. 6 Gaggies would be crazy because the amount of counterattacks this hero could do as well. There's just so many things that could be really, really cool that we just don't have a chance to see. I mean, heck, maybe even make Sword Flash viable. Granted, Sword Flash thrives when you have Drake, and Sword Flash suffers the same as, you know, Lord Sparkle's Yorm Tum. Could you imagine how strong Yorm Tum would be in like Void campaign if you could still use Drake? That would be a guaranteed kill on a single target immediately, and then you could chase additional targets and go after them. So let me know what you guys think would be like a crazy sick combo. I mean, I think a lot of these heroes would not be absolutely insane to do, except maybe Lord of Death Azrael, just because you could literally have like 6 of them chain reviving, and this would bring you back to the carry days, except in this form is doing crazy amounts of damage, whereas carry was reducing energy. I don't know. I mean, it could even be crazy if you had Star Alchemist Holmes Young, especially with his Noble Core, because then it's like you're basically immune. Like, you just got craziness. And again, going back to the original one, how do you beat this amount of crowd control? This seems like it would just be an insane amount of crowd control coming at you, and I don't know what you could even do. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think it would be fair if they came out with some mode where you could have like maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 of the same Transcendence hero? Again, the only other thing I was thinking is it would definitely boost the market right here, especially on these sales here. Oh, I did not mean to pick Patricia, although I don't think it worked anyway, because I see B and C tiers in here. Like, it would crazily put the demand of these heroes way up there as well, because you would just need more copies of them, especially considering there's only 1 Aspen up here even. That could be absolutely nuts. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Again, sorry for all the theory crafting today. I swear I'm done. I'll go back to real life here tomorrow, but I wanted to share my thoughts with you guys because I love thinking about this type of stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.